everyone, this is Cherry,
And this is Kat.
and you're listening to Keeping It Creepy with Cherry and Kat. Ow! Today we are talking about the Belko Experiment from 2016. The writer is James Gunn. Spoiler-free synopsis. We have a bunch of co-workers a bunch of people who work in an office building of some sort, corporate, They are going about their usual workday. Very early in the movie, an announcement comes over the PA system that turns their whole day upside down, and everything goes awry immediately from that announcement. I can't tell you more because that would be spoiling it.
Yeah. Guys, I recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the women. Though I do think the casting director has a thing for young Hispanic girls, which I'm not against.
Right.
There's a lot of really attractive young Hispanic girls, even like bit parts. I'm just like, oh, she is unnecessarily hot.
Uh-huh.
Like, where you're like, the casting director has a type. And I get because it's supposed to be in Bogota or whatever, but none of these people are locals. They're all imports. So it's a weird way of saying that. It's look, I work in Japan. Like, this is how, but they're supposed to be like government contractors, which is why they're paid so well and they get like lodging for free and a car for free, everything else. But then the structure is very corporate. And I feel like this was written by a rich man who's never had to work a real job before. In that, like, it doesn't quite fit corporate culture and it doesn't quite fit the government contracting problem, like working as a nameless, faceless government weenie.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the criticisms that I saw from a lot of the websites was that it's like, it really kind of loses the satire because it doesn't actually know what it's satirizing. You have to know. I was expecting to really like the office-ness of it because I've worked in an office building before. It really didn't hit. And I think that's because James Gunn has never worked an office job in his life.
That makes sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense.
So rolling right into the spoiler synopsis. Spoilers go. There is an office in Colombia that is basically government contracting. They don't really seem to know what they do for work. It's very like around and not doing anything like in the office. Suddenly, bam, huge metal sheath covers the building. No one can get in or out. There's no cell phone reception. And an announcement comes over the intercom saying that they must start killing people. First, they have to kill 2 people, then they have to kill 30 people. And then finally, the person who has the most kills will be the only survivor. And so as they're going through these complex social dynamics of should we kill, should we not kill, how should we try to get out, what should we try to do, our main character, Mike, is trying to keep the peace and be a pacifist and save lives, while the evil CEO, who's the guy from Ghost, so I knew he was going to be evil right off the bat.
Oh, was he also in Ghost? Okay. So if you're talking about the boss, right, Barry, most of our listeners will know him from Scandal as the president on Scandal. Yeah.
It's him. It's evil Dr. Cox from Scrubs and the 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yes.
And I have to say that I hated Mike. I hated Mike a lot. And it concerned me because I was like, why do I hate him? Because I love him in 10 Cloverfield Lane. And he is basically the same guy. He's like the goofy, good intention, too naive, everyman. But for some reason, I love him in 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I cannot every time they splashed back to him, I was like, oh, this motherfucker again. It was like watching Squid Games again, where you're like, the main guy is my least favorite guy, and I hate that you're the main character. It was exactly that. I really dislike that kind of character as a main character because he's not the main character in Cloverfield.
No.
He's Mary Elizabeth Winstead is. And I think having him as a major character, but not the main character, is important for like as flat a guy as he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, first of all, with that, I cannot believe he's hooking up with a girl that hot with that cowlick.
I chalked it up to, because where their office building is, there is like nothing else around. I chalked it up to the best of what your options are, because the only guy I thought was hot was the guy who was married and clearly faithful to his family. And so I was like, oh, he's clearly not an option. He's not on the table. Well, who else is there? old dude, too fat, too boring. Mike, I guess.
That's fair. Yeah, nobody's really hot. I wasn't even into Terry because he has no neck, and that was just like no. That's an instant no for me. If you got no neck, that's I don't have a lot of visual aesthetic requirements, but that's one of mine. You gotta have a neck.
What of your choices?
But that is true. I'm working in Japan, and so we have a very small, like, expat Westerner community, and some of the people who be dating, you'd be like, I mean, I guess if you don't want to learn Japanese, that's the best you're gonna do, babe. Like, I did think the office banter was pretty cute, at least at the beginning. I did need the brown people to react a little bit more.
Yeah.
My favorite character was Dany, the new girl.
Oh yeah, me too. Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted her to be the survivor by default. And it really bummed me out that she died because she would have won because she had that one self-defense kill.
Yes. And her brown girl senses were on high alert the entire time.
Although this girl needs to go to hiding school because she had the worst hiding places. She crouched behind a box that was like halfway up her boobs on at least 2 occasions. 3 occasions, actually, because it was the first time that she gets caught by the janitor killing the other janitor.
Mm-hmm.
The second time that she gets seen by the murder guy, but he for some reason lets her live, and that was to me.
I think his plan was to come back and get her later.
Here's the bad guys, right? So everything starts to go to chaos. They have to start murdering people. Who's down for the murder? Clearly the CEO. Always. Evil doctor because he's a sexual harassment panda. And then big guy with a beard for no reason other than he's the biggest and has the biggest beard. So obviously he's murdered. And then Terry no neck because he wants to save his family. Right. Yeah. And then at some point between them trying to break into the armory to get them weapons and when they actually start killing people, there's just like an extra guy. Who is this man? He's just some random guy. He looks like he could have been Mike's stunt double. Like he's just another everyman white guy with stubbly face and like short brown hair.
Yep.
And he's the one who lets the girl go. And I'm like, I don't have enough information about this guy to guess about his motives. Is he doing it for like weird rapey reasons? Is he doing it because he actually feels sympathy? Is he doing it because he's just got his hands full with too many people already? Like what's his deal? I don't get to know because I've literally seen this man for 2 frames before the scene.
Yep.
And I really feel like that would have been a better choice for literally anyone else. Like even for the CEO, I think that would have been a really good moment for the CEO if he had seen her and been like, it's her literal first fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know what I mean? And that was a waste. It was like kind of unfair. I wonder if they cut something that would have made it make sense. I hate the girlfriend, which sucks because she's very pretty and she's a very good actress. But she was written in the script to be the bitch girlfriend. And so she has to disagree with everything Mike does. Yeah. And so when Mike does something violent, she's against it. When Mike does something pacifistic, she's against it. When Mike does literally anything, she's against it. She has to argue against it. And so it makes her character very inconsistent and it makes her kind of a fucking bummer. Like there's a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy actors in this, and that's probably James Gunn's fault.
Oh, is it? not the really, I didn't think other than the head janitor being Yondu, I didn't even think about Guardians.
The crazy it's in the water man guy is also from Guardians. He's another one of those. He's like his second hand.
Oh, that's why I know him. Thank you. He was the only guy I forgot to look up.
Oh man, I just really hate Mike. So they have a bunch of weapons locked up in the safe. And the security guard is like, nah, man. Now at that point, this man should have gone into hiding. Honestly, like if I was in this man's position, I don't like none of y'all enough. Y'all probably all get paid 5 times as much as I do, and I'm not hanging out with you. And I'm gonna go somewhere. Maybe I tell the one black girl to come hide with me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're gonna kill the person who has a weapon already on him. Or what? I don't understand why nobody was concerned about this poor black man until he's literally murdered.
Yeah.
Like just stop. This is a PSA against having white friends, honestly.
I get why. It's for the plot, but I really needed the number of people who were against killing vastly outnumbered the number of people who were for killing. It's like, the president and Dr. Cox and the like three, it's like five guys total. And there are like 70 of you. You can't, before they have guns, you all can't just like muscle them into some space where they can't get out. Like, I get it. Everyone like is like, well, let's find some other way that's not killing each other. Like, we don't want to do this, but like, you all outnumber them significantly.
I think it's supposed to be, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a failed office culture thing. Like, I think there's that he was going for, this is that office culture where you do what you're told and like you don't question people above you and you just kind of stick to your own. But it really didn't come across right. And like, honestly, the first thing I was expecting way more people to be hiding by themselves, and hardly anyone did. It was at least in a group of like five, other than Dany.
Yeah.
And she's literally the only person who went into hiding, and you really get the feeling that's only because she didn't know anybody. I just needed more people to be looking out for themselves. And it's not even like corporate culture work together. Like, that's also very corporate culture, is that when shit hits the fan, that you kind of like look out for yourself and you throw it. So I really feel like that's like part of the thing that James Gunn doesn't understand, because he's never had to work a poor people job.
If he's the CEO, like, you may, obviously he's not going to know everybody who works in the building, but they've had chances now. They've had a few hours of this where you've had to have looked around and had a general idea. Like, he had to know that the 65 plus group was not going to be enough people. So it's almost like, so you separate out the people with young children. That was maybe 10 people. Why even bother to separate further from there? Because then after that, he's seemingly just choosing people at random.
Yes, and I don't understand why he doesn't just let them draw lots the way Terry suggests, where he's like, yeah, everybody's left over, draw a lot. Like, there we go. Or I needed him to say something like, oh, we don't have time. Like, that would have been a great idea for last hour. Or he could say something ominous like, we will next time. That would be okay. Him just being like, oh, don't undermine me. It's very cardboard cutout CEO. Like, we want to make fun of a CEO I've never had to actually listen to.
And then they give him that like brief, like when he's actually like one by one executing them, they give him that brief like close up where I think it's supposed to look like he's conflicted, like he feels guilty about shooting them, but like that, he didn't feel guilty 10 minutes ago when he was dividing them up, and he doesn't feel guilty 10 minutes after that when Dany cuts the power and everybody runs. So like, why?
That's why I think that if he had been the one to save Dany, it would have been much more significant, because first have shown that he actually had conflict, and second of all, when the lights go down, he could be like, it's because I let that girl go, and then that would be his motivation to be a total asshole from that point on. But I mean, I honestly think that he wasn't probably written to be very sympathetic. I think that that's because that actor's a very good actor.
Yeah. Oh, that he managed to find like multiple side, make this character her around character. Yeah.
Let's see. I hate the girlfriend the most. Hate her the most. I know I just said I hate Mike the most. It's a seesaw. It's a seesaw. They make the announcement that they are literally one person short, and they have got to kill somebody before this timer runs out. This man, Terry No Neck, has been stalking her. He is shooting at her. He was about to kill her boyfriend. You have got to kill one more person. She manages to get the machete off of the paper cutter. She cuts him on the legs. She cuts off his hand. He is clearly going to bleed to death. And he's like, please don't hit me. And she goes, you know what? I am going to let 30 more people die. And she just chills, and 30 more people blow up. And I know that the argument is that like giving into your loss of humanity is what makes you a bad person, and it's savage, and we should not do that. And Mike was right all along, because they're all going to die anyway. But they did have those bombs, and they did have some kind of a plan.
Yeah.
And so what they needed to do was to stop fucking talking about it, because I think my problem with these kinds of movies is that I'm always going to compare them to Battle Royale. I'm just always and the Battle Royale kids figured out that you need to shut the fuck up and obscure what you're doing, like within the first 10 minutes, at least a couple that figured it out. And somehow nobody in this office, it ever occurs to them that maybe they should like write things down and then like destroy them right after, that they should like form a circle together so that nobody can see them and read their lips, like just make a little tent. Just really fucking stupid. And so when this guy collects all of these bombs, and they're just like, let's talk about these bombs out in the open with our mouths moving so everyone can see what we're doing, like, this plan is not going to work. Like, I just don't understand how every single person can be this stupid in this office. They're all functional literate adults.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.